Once, in a lush and vibrant forest deep in the heart of a kingdom far to the east, lived an elephant named Chandra. Chandra was no ordinary elephant. He was large, powerful, and wise, with a mind as sharp as a bamboo spear and a heart as vast as the ocean. His tusks gleamed like ivory, and his movements were majestic and fluid as he roamed the jungles with his herd. Yet despite his strength and intelligence, Chandra felt something was missing. He had always wondered, why do I feel bound, despite my freedom? One day, the winds of change swept through the forest. A mysterious traveler arrived, a man dressed in simple robes and carrying nothing but a long rope coiled around his shoulder. His name was Ajar, and though he appeared ordinary, there was an air of wisdom about him that even Chandra could sense. Chandra approached Ajar, his curiosity piqued. "What brings you to our forest, traveler?" he asked in his deep, rumbling voice. Ajar smiled, his eyes calm and clear. "I come to show you a way to untangle the knots in your heart, mighty elephant, a way to free yourself from the invisible ropes that bind you, and perhaps find the peace you've been searching for." Chandra was intrigued. He had never thought of himself as being bound by anything other than the forest's rules. But Ajar's words sparked something inside him. He followed the man as he walked deeper into the woods, and they arrived at a clearing where a rope was tied between two strong trees. The rope was thick, weathered, and firmly anchored in the earth. "Chandra," Ajar said, gesturing toward the rope, "this rope is like the attachments you carry in your heart. It is invisible to others, yet it holds you in ways you cannot see. The more you struggle against it, the tighter it becomes. The more you fight, the more you feel trapped." Chandra looked at the rope. It seemed ordinary enough, but something about it unsettled him. "What do you mean?" Chandra asked, his voice filled with both confusion and curiosity. Ajar walked toward the rope, uncoiling it with ease. "This rope represents the attachments that bind us to our desires, fears, and past experiences. We may not even notice them, but they are always there, pulling us in directions we do not wish to go. Just like this rope, we can't escape them until we understand them." Chandra frowned, his trunk curling around the rope. He felt an overwhelming urge to snap it apart, to free himself from whatever this mysterious rope represented. But Ajar stopped him with a gentle touch. "Patience, Chandra. The first step in understanding these invisible bonds is to stop struggling against them. If you try to break the rope, you may only hurt yourself. You must learn to understand the rope first, what it is, where it comes from, and how it ties you down." Chandra was puzzled, but decided to listen. He sat down, his massive form creating a small hill in the soft grass. He gazed at the rope as Ajar spoke. "The more we cling to things in this world, whether it be our desires for more power, more possessions, or even our own sense of self, the tighter the invisible ropes around us grow. It is not until we release these attachments that we can feel truly free. The rope is not your enemy, Chandra. It is your understanding of it that will determine your freedom." Chandra considered Ajar's words. He thought about the many things he had clung to in his life. His pride as the strongest elephant in the jungle, his desire to be admired by others, and his attachment to the safety of his herd. All of these things had been his ropes. He realized that in his quest for freedom, he had never once truly tried to let go of the things that bound him. "But how do I release the rope?" Chandra asked, his voice softening. "How do I untangle myself from the things I cling to so desperately?" Ajar sat down beside him, his eyes filled with compassion. "The first step, my friend, is to observe the rope without trying to destroy it. Look at it, feel it, understand its purpose in your life. Chandra stared at the rope. It was thick and sturdy, and as he touched it with his trunk, he realized that it was not as simple as it seemed. He pulled and tugged at it, but it didn't break. He pushed and tried to force his way out, but it only tightened around him. The more he struggled, the more he felt trapped. "What should I do?" Chandra asked in frustration, his massive body shaking with the effort. "Stop struggling," Ajahn said calmly. "Breathe and allow yourself to be still. It is not in force that freedom is found, but in understanding. You must look inward, for the rope is only a reflection of what lies in your heart." Chandra took a deep breath. Slowly, he relaxed his body. The tension in his muscles began to ease, and he closed his eyes. As he sat still, he became aware of a deep inner silence that he had never noticed before. The rope, once a symbol of struggle, now appeared different to him. He could feel its texture, its weight, and he could see how it connected to his past experiences, his desires, and his fear of losing control. For the first time, Chandra allowed himself to feel vulnerable. He didn't have to be the strongest elephant or the leader of his herd. He didn't need the admiration of others or the endless pursuit of dominance. All those things were merely ropes that tied him to a false sense of self. "What do I do now?" Chandra asked, his voice trembling with newfound insight. "Now," Ajahn said softly, "you must release the rope, not by force, but by letting go. Let it slip from your grasp. Trust that freedom is not something to be fought for, but something to be received when you stop clinging to what no longer serves you." With a hesitant movement, Chandra released his hold on the rope. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The rope remained where it was, tied between the trees. But slowly, something inside Chandra shifted. He felt lighter, freer. The weight that had pressed down on him for so long, his fears, his desires, his need for control, began to melt away. Ajahn smiled. "Now you understand, Chandra. Freedom comes not from breaking free, but from letting go. The rope was never your enemy, but your attachment to it was. You are now free." For the first time in his life, Chandra felt truly free. He no longer needed to prove himself to others. He no longer feared losing control. He had discovered that true strength lay not in force, but in surrender. The rope, once a symbol of his struggles, had become the very key to his awakening. As Chandra walked away from the clearing, his heart was light and his mind clear. He felt at peace with himself and the world around him. The ropes that had once held him captive no longer had a hold on him. He was free, but Ajah's words echoed in his mind. Freedom comes not from breaking free, but from letting go. Chandra knew that his journey was far from over. There would always be new ropes to encounter, new attachments to confront. But now he had learned the secret: to release, to observe, and to let go. And in that letting go, he would find the peace he had always sought. Like Chandra, we all carry invisible ropes, attachments to desires, fears, and past experiences. Sometimes it feels like we must break free from them with all our might, but the true path to freedom lies in letting go. Take a moment today to reflect on the ropes in your own life. What are you clinging to that no longer serves you? What would happen if you let go just a little bit? You don't have to do it alone. Sometimes the first step toward freedom is simply being still and understanding where your ropes come from. Let go and discover the peace that awaits.